This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
All right, normally we would have Neil Coulong in this half hour as we have for years and years and years, but there was a death in Neil's family, and Neil is exactly where he should be. So we will have him back next week. This half hour brought to you by Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury. The Beverage Supermarket. Imports, Domestics, Microbrews, the best selection of beer anywhere. Wine coolers, water, soft drinks, snacks. They roast their peanuts fresh and not every day. 6 great flavors of slushies. And not only that, ready-to-drink cocktails, High Noon, Jack Daniel's, Crown Royal. Pickle Bar led by the Barrels and the Dills, indeed second to none. All at Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street in Sunbury, the beverage supermarket. So yesterday we were talking about the makeup of a roster as to what you need to do. At least what I think you need to do in a long season. And I was talking about like the core 50 guys. You need to have 50 guys. The one thing I need to make clear is that the 50 guys can be in flux, for example. It can be in flux. And because suddenly out of nowhere, somebody who may be 60 is 45. That's why each and every week you're really taking out. I know they look at it in each practice, but each and every week you reevaluate where your roster is, as to who that core group of 50 guys is going to be. Because at Penn State, they'll play the core group of 50 guys. And some of those guys that may not be starters are showing up in a series or two in the fourth quarter. Now, at this point, is there a core group I'm looking at where I'm saying to myself, that appears that this week to look like the core group? No question. Doesn't mean it can't change, though. And that's my point. It doesn't mean it can't change. It's a daily competition. So, if anybody thinks, okay, that's a 50, it's all one, it's done, it's not. Now, do you expect A.J. Harris to not be a starter? Of course not. Do you expect Zane Durant not to be a starter? Of course not. Right? I mean, there's certain things that are obvious to everybody as to who's going to be doing what. But next evaluation period's today, and then tomorrow night they go back into the stadium. So that's where they are. Ranking doesn't mean anything. It's not like the old days when you would sit there with the ranking and it was your starting point for the season. And you're like, okay, 14. Some people in front of you have to lose. Okay, you keep winning. Right? Because the AP and the coaches poll, to me, are now the same in football as they are in basketball. I've said for years in basketball, the polls mean nothing except they promote the games. Hey, it's fourth-ranked Kentucky against number 12 Tennessee playing at Rupp Arena. Okay, that promotes the game. But the AP poll and the coaches poll have zero to do with the national championship. There's a tournament. It's the same thing now in college football. You have a tournament. So even though you have number one, Texas at number 3, Ohio State to open the season, or number whatever, let's just say Iowa State's 11 and say Kansas State's 19. They're playing in Dublin. That promotes the game. But the reality is the first college football playoff poll that comes out from the committee is the only one you take seriously at that point. The AP and the coaches don't determine who the national championship is. It doesn't matter. So does it matter that Penn State's 2 right now? No. Has anybody on that practice field talked about being number 2? No. Did it affect the practice yesterday? No. Were they workmanlike and businesslike yesterday? Yep. I mean, they went about yesterday the same way, okay, that they do every day. It had nothing to do with it. Did James talk to the team after practice about it yet? No. There's no need.
I'm only surprised that they're 2 in the sense that I would think that they want to try and make that Ohio State-Texas game 1 versus 2 to start the season.
Well, I mean, there's 60 people?
Yeah.
There's probably a bunch of them that did vote that way, and there's a bunch that didn't. Yeah. The difference is Ohio State, for example, what are a couple of key factors that you look at? Number 1, do you have your starting quarterback back from last season? A lot of people will factor that in as a starting point on a team's ranking. Then they'll look at, the wideouts and the running backs, how many of those guys you have back, so forth. Then how many returning starters on offense and defense. Well, Penn State has the guy that's the returning starter quarterback. Ohio State does not. Right? Penn State has both its running backs back. Ohio State does not. Now, James Peoples was the 3 last year and very good. And C.J. Donaldson, who's lost a little weight, was that power back at West Virginia that transferred in. Plus, they do have Jeremiah Smith. But they did lose a lot of players off that team. That's a very deep program. And the odd thing is Texas is ranked number 1, and guess who's the underdog in the opening game?
The Longhorns?
Yep, they are the underdog.
They are on the road.
Yep, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying they're the underdog. After all that stuff I just said about Ohio State, they're the underdog, which is fine. Who cares? It doesn't matter. I mean, it's your money. I really don't care how you bet it. Right? Don't blame the rest of the world if it doesn't work. You're the one that put it out there.
I mean, I'd much rather play Ohio State in these first couple weeks than later on in the season when the quarterback probably figures it out.
So like November 1st?
Yeah. There's that part.
I mean, now I'll say that it's really people talk about Penn State's schedule. Well, there are 3 teams ranked from the Big Ten in the top 10. Penn State plays the other 2. And Penn State, again, Penn State has opened in 21 at Wisconsin. They then opened in 22 at Purdue, which when Jeff Brom was the head coach. Okay? And then they opened at home with West Virginia. And then last year they went to Morgantown, and we all remember that for West Virginia, that game was their Super Bowl. This was like everything to them. I was there. It meant everything to them.
I was going to say they broke out the big guns for that one, didn't they?
Sure they did.
Didn't McAfee do a show from that?
Yeah. Oh, blah, blah, blah. But the game wasn't even close.
No.
All right? And now you're complaining they're opening with Nevada? They've been opening with all these Power 4 teams, 2 of them in conference. Jeez. Yeah. I've you just play who's in front of you. You go from there. We'll see over time what teams want to do with their non-conference schedule in this playoff era. And we'll see what teams want to do if there are automatic qualifiers. If that ever comes to fruition, as to how they want to do non-conference, I don't know. But you can't go in with the ridiculous idea that you play Alabama one week, Georgia the next week, then you play Ohio State, then you play Michigan, then you play Oregon, right? What a schedule. Well, guess what? You're not surviving it. It's
going to need a heck of a lot more than 72 guys in your road roster.
Oh, man, you're going to need tremendous skill, lots of luck. You're going to have a deep team because physical games like that, people get hurt.
Did you see any of the John Mateer stuff today? Mantier?
No.
Somebody found some what they are calling gambling payments to somebody in 2022, but he's denying it all. He's supposed to release a statement after practice today.
Really?
Yeah. That'd be wild if they get. He'd probably be the biggest player they get in that, wouldn't they? If something happened.
To this point, yeah. Yeah.
Because I feel like people think between him, Jaden Ott, and some of the other guys that they're supposed to be the surprise team in the SEC this year.
Right.
I almost said Big 12. I'll get used to it.
Yeah. You better get used to it. It's all different now. Yeah. But the ranking part, fine. Just go out and play. I mean, the rankings were so important to me earlier in my career every single week. Where's Penn State? Where's Penn State? Where's Penn State? Because it also meant where you'd end up at the end of the year, at least set you up for in a national title run. So that doesn't happen anymore. The coaches poll and the AP have nothing to do with who the title is. It has nothing to do with who gets in the playoff. It may set a perception about where certain people are. I mean, there's a perception.
I mean, I also think at this point, if you're following this fairly closely, that you know who the top 5 are going to be at this point too.
Right, I understand. Yeah, and what makes college football so difficult is even in your own conference, you have different schedules. Even in your own conference, you have different schedules. You're not playing everybody. Penn State's not playing Michigan this year, for example. Like I said, Ohio State doesn't play Oregon. Ohio State only plays Penn State in the top 10. Penn State has played both Oregon and Ohio State.
I was just going to say, you can point to the difference in Indiana's schedule the last 2 years, last year and this year.
Yeah, when Indiana got to the end of the year and they finally had to play Michigan and Ohio State, it was the second half of the Michigan game that tipped off everybody that they weren't ready. Right? Because in the second half, Indiana played so poorly in that game. And then they went to Ohio State, and they scored in their opening drive, then got buried. You just knew when they played Notre Dame it was going to be more of the same. They were just like they'd done enough because they only lost one game during the season. But the schedule was so favorable to getting them. Because look, their schedule was not put together to make a run to the national title. Okay, their non-conference schedule was put together to get them to a bowl game. Right? It's Indiana. what are the expectations? We can win 3 games and then win 3 conference games. We're in a bowl game. And that's why that schedule was put together the way it was last year. What's interesting is that now Virginia, and I'm not saying Virginia is a world beater. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. But they're a Power 4 school. And they dropped them from the schedule. Okay. Yeah. It's fine.
We talk about depth, and I think that's, Indiana was good at the beginning of their schedule, and that, that's also the stretch where the quarterback got hurt, there was a couple linemen hurt, and that's where you see it's Kurt's first year is, they don't have that depth. Right. I'm not sure they probably have it this year yet either. That's, as you well know, building that depth is not a short-term task.
No, it takes a long time to get there. Now with the transfer portal, but people are not interested in the transfer portal of being depth pieces. I mean, when you're in the transfer portal, you're looking to be a depth piece. You were a depth piece, right? You already were a depth piece. I want to be the starter. I want to be the guy.
I wonder if that's where those guys they identify in Division II and Division III at this point, and end up being at some point is the Division I depth pieces as juniors and seniors.
Maybe, and it was interesting because a friend of mine was talking to the staff down at James Madison, and of course, 12 or 13 of them left and went to Indiana with him. And he said their job right now, they said, is bordering on the almost impossible. He says, they moved up in weight class, great, but because of the transfer portal, they're not getting the same. Hey, they're starting over in a lot of ways.
That's where Mr. Braden Wisłowski is at now. He transferred there.
Yeah.
From Maryland.
From Maryland, yep.
And Southern.
But again, at Maryland, he was a returner.
Yep.
But he was a depth piece at wide receiver. Because he was always on my chart. But he was a returner. But he may have been 7, 8, 9 somewhere. He may be 7, 8, or 9 on the receiver group. Well, he doesn't want to do that. He wants to play. Right? He wants to play. And that, can you blame him?
No, not in the least.
No. So he goes, and Harrisonburg's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Actually, well, you know this. They were actually making some inways up this way just because, Bob Jr.'s from called Mount Carmel Lords.
Yeah. Yep. No, you are going to make some headroad. Yeah, but if you have a terrific player that's being recruited by a Power 4 school, they're not going to win out over that player. They financially can't do it. As I said last week, 82% of all the schools have opted in on the house settlement. And 18%, of course, they'll play, but they have not. In other words, they're not going to pay athletes or anything like that. Now, James Madison opted in, but they're not opting in at the $20.5 million number. I don't know what their number would be. I have no idea what their number would be. But, for example, the American Conference does have a floor of $10 million. It's not, $20.5 million is the ceiling, but they have a floor. If you fall below the floor, you can't be in the conference. So,
Who's the first school in one of those smaller conferences to figure out that if they pay more money, they end up dominating the conference?
Jeez.
I mean, I know they understand it. I wonder, is there any of them that can get away with it? Is my better question. Can afford it?
Well, you have to have donors that make it happen. How about that?
And I was just going to say, and I feel like if somebody had those donors, we'd already know about that school.
Yeah, that's true. Because even in Power 4, it's been a revelation about Texas Tech. I mean, suddenly Texas Tech has the billionaire twin brothers, and they are throwing heavy loads of cash at the situation there. Heavy loads.
Well, it sounds like Kentucky just made somebody their in-house NIL person or NIL company.
Yeah, you have to have that. I mean, you do.
No, the story, basically all the SEC schools have no in-house NIL anymore, like Ohio State did.
You mean external? You're talking about external NIL.
That they're not. All these schools are not partnered with their. I'll look it up.
In other words, they're not partnered with Buckeye United.
Correct.
Right, whatever it's called. I have no idea what it's called.
Yeah. Well, Kentucky announced a partnership today.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But Texas Tech, they decided to capitalize on the final months of unlimited NIL spending before the cap revenue kicked in. The Red Raiders spent, how much money do you think they spent before July 1? $55 million across 17 sports. Unbelievable.
Here it is. Kentucky's new LLC, Champions Blue, signs a new deal with JIM through 2040.
Okay.
Estimated at $465 million. Notable, JM will create an in-house NIL collective to help facilitate athlete brand deals and ensure each passes through the NIL Go Clearinghouse. Kentucky becomes the first SEC team to do this after all the SEC teams dropped their in-house NIL collectives due to the House settlement.
Well, Texas Tech, before the billionaire brothers got involved, had only $1 million in NIL money to allocate to transfers in 23-24.
It's amazing how once you don't spend money, somebody wants to spend money to make sure you win, huh?
It's unbelievable.
You say this all this time, like those SMU oil people weren't licking their chops last year.
We get to do it for real.
I just watched they just played that on ESPN2 the other night.
They can't stop us. It's legal.
Party time, game time.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Got a car to sell but no time to waste? Hop on to Carvana.com to get a real offer for your car in seconds. All you have to do is enter your license plate, answer a few quick questions, and if you accept the offer, Carvana will pay you as soon as you hand the keys over. They even offer same-day pickup in many cities. Save your time, score some cash, and sell your car the convenient way to
Carvana. Carvana.
Pickup times vary. Fees may apply.
Time or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Summer's winding down, but the deals are heating up at Sunbury Motors Ford on North 4th Street in Sunbury. Get back to school in style. Save up to $6,800 on the fuel-efficient 2025 Ford Escape. Now priced as low as $24,975. Great for the morning carpool, but hurry, only a few left. Need more room for backpacks and gear? From 46 new Ford Explorers, slashed up to $6,200, starting at just $36,935. Or go big with America's favorite, over 60 new 2025 Ford F-150s, discounted up to $13,000, now starting at $45,544. And yes, 0% financing is available on many models. Race in the fall at Sunbury Motors Ford, North 4th Street in Sunbury, or visit sunburymotors.com.
Hi, this is Season. For over 100 years, the Purdy Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses of the greater Susquehanna Valley and beyond. With the experience of our trained and knowledgeable staff, you can rest assured that your needs will be evaluated and met by some of the industry's best representatives. No matter what your insurance needs are, call Purdy Insurance today at 570-286-5855. Visit our website at purdyinsurance.com or check us out on Facebook to see what we can do for you.
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now, from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
And this half hour brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, Hummels Wharf, online. SunburyMotors.com. Ford, Kia, Hyundai, the best in new inventory. I went with Ford, bought an Explorer from Sunbury Motors. Great buying experience. Financing experience, great. And you want to go with the best, the pros. And you want to make sure the pre-owned inventory is gone over with a fine-tooth comb. And they do that. That way it eases your buying experience. And when it comes to the service department, quick lane, inspections, routine, difficult, they handle it all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummels Wharf and online. That's sunburymotors.com. So here we are. High school football will start in 10 days. 10 days. Our first high school roundtable is in 9 days on the show. Can you believe that?
I cannot. I'm just not prepared for my summer to be over yet.
I know. And not only that, but the Mets and the Mariners are going to play in Williamsport Sunday night. Now, you're a big Mets fan. Are you able to go to this, or can you? Or
no. You have to enter a lottery, and I think you have to be a Lycoming County resident.
Okay, got it. Because they only have 2,200 seats.
Yeah, until you get all the little leaguers and all the staff in, there's even less than that, I think.
Oh, of course. No, this game is for them.
Yeah.
Oh, no, this game is for them. So
I'll be there in spirit.
You'll watch on TV.
Pretty much.
Yeah. It'll be torturous at the beginning because all they'll do for the first 3 innings is talk about all their problems.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're winning by the first 3 innings, because if they're not, it'll just be more talking about all their problems.
Brutal. Yeah. But we've got a lot going on here. I mean, in a short period of time. Right now is the lull before the storm. But you've got baseball up there, Little League World Series is going on. Then we start high school football in 10 days. 10 days.
Hey, Steve, we have
Yes,
Dick
sir.
from Milton.
Hello, Dick from Milton. How are you today?
I'm good, Steve. I just have two quick questions for you, and maybe Matt can answer the one. The Valley, which was a local AM radio station and carried the Lewisburg High School football games, is now online, totally online. And I'm wondering if it'll affect the games, or will they still carry the Lewisburg High School games? I know that Russell's one of your panelists.
No, they're not carrying Lewisburg High School football this year, Dick.
There won't be any.
No.
Okay, that was you answered that question. I didn't think so, but I wasn't sure because there's only so many outlets. And my other question for Steve is that of 105, 107, 108,000 seats at Beaver Stadium, how many seats have they lost in this renovation for this year? Do you know?
Dick, it's going to be close to what it was before, but I can't tell you whether it's a few seats fewer or a few seats more, because what they've done, it's more than just putting up the bleachers as temporary bleachers on the west side, but they've also put up bleachers in the corners of the stadium, which have been wide open and empty before they put up bleachers there. So I don't have a number yet as to what it's supposed to be. I think the old number was 106, 792 or something like that.
I said 105 to 107. I wasn't sure what it was. I know they always announce more than that sometimes, but whatever.
Well, that's
and I was just kind of curious. I know they did I know they're doing some major renovations, obviously.
Yeah, but you know why that they announce more? They announce more because it includes everybody that's there. So in other words, it includes the media, it includes staff, things like
players.
that.
They even count the players?
They don't count the players, but like for example, their families that are guests on the sideline, things like that, they all count. So I know.
I had a friend that was a member of he got sideline passes, so I guess he would have been counted house on that way.
Right. That's why it's more. So whatever I think the number's going to be close. I know they ended up with a 93, I think about 93,000 season tickets. Then that's obviously those who pay the full rate and the students. The students are 21,000 of that. But they ended up with 93,000 season tickets out of this. Then after that, your guess is as good as mine right now as to what the actual number is in the stadium. I think they can only guess themselves right now, only because they're not quite finished with it yet, but they're close.
You're talking about the bleacher section or whatever they're going to call it.
Everything, the bleacher section and the broadcast areas.
I got you.
And they were still working. They've got the one corner, the northwest corner was done, and on Saturday they were working on the southeast corner of the stadium, where they were putting bleachers up.
Right. I mean, I have not been up there since wrestling season, obviously.
Oh, no, I understand. I mean, I've had the advantage of going in, 3 times now, and I'm going to go back in there tomorrow night, so.
All right, you answered my questions. Mainly, I thought they wouldn't have Lewisburg High School football, but I wasn't sure. Sadly, they've been online forever, like Milton. So it'll be just Milton, Sickle-Emy, and Stillsgrove, I guess, will be on the Sunbury Broadcasting then.
I'm sad too, Dick. I used to do play-by-play for Lewisburg.
Right. well, I graduated from Lewisburg, and I follow them. I follow all the teams locally, but it was always interesting because I know Wetzel, and I grew up with those guys, and some of them I'm older, but Jim Wetzel and coach when he was coaching. And it's just sad. Obviously, there's high school football is what it is, but if you can listen to it when you're not there, it's always nice to hear the games. Yeah.
And those guys always did a great job.
What's that?
And those guys always did a great job.
All the announcers, it doesn't matter if it's Milton or Selinsgrove or Shikellamy, or whatever wrestling, or Bucknell or Penn. The announcers always, they add a lot to the game. Obviously, when you're not there, you just have to visualize the game and listen to it as they announce it.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It is what it is, and eventually probably there'll be more and more of these stations will go totally online, and that might eliminate some of these high school broadcasts.
Yep, I agree with you completely.
I liked it when the game was on the AM side of a radio station, because after the game I would get in my car and listen to the wrap up.
Right.
And obviously, you don't do that when it's online. Obviously,
right? Yeah, I can't. Doing it when it's online, it's impossible to do that.
As I say, I really enjoyed like you guys following up, you and Jack, or when Doug and they're following up a Bucknell game or something, or the high school game. It's always adds a lot more to the game, or the interview a coach or a player. But as I see, you lose a little bit of that, or a lot of it, or all of it, when it's not on the AM side. All right, thanks a lot, guys. You answered my questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, appreciate it, Dick. Dick and Milton joining us. Yeah, it's a shame about Lewisburg football, especially last year. They made such a really, really nice run. So, really nice run. But we'll have coverage of Selinsgrove, and we'll have coverage of Shikellamy. And Selinsgrove opens up with Juniata, I believe?
Yep, they head out to Juniata, and Schick is on the road at Milton.
Milton, yeah. And they'll let the Chief in the stadium, which is really cool.
Yeah. The Chief is tall enough; he can stand outside the fence and watch.
Yeah, but they'll let him in. Yeah. They like him. And meanwhile, the other guy,
the suit did pop his head in here earlier to say that he is beloved in Milton. It is just Jersey Shore.
Is he sure?
I'm not sure he's sure about anything, but.
We'll take a break, wrap it up in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
Party time, game time, or just fun time. Doesn't matter what time it is, because it's Brewers Outlet time. The beverage supermarket has the area's largest beer selection. Imports, microbrews, ciders, and domestics. Pick from over 100 ice-cold 12-packs and dozens of 24-ounce singles. Soda, snacks, hot sauces, fresh roasted peanuts. Make it one-stop party shopping, and don't forget the pickle bar. So whatever you're celebrating or just doing it up, Brewers Outlet, Reagan Street, Sunbury wants to see you. And thank you for your years of patronage.
Nothing. Nada. Zilch. That's what you'll pay this summer to drive a brand new Kia from Sunbury Motors Kia.
Wanna see you in a Kia. Sunbury Motors Kia.
That's right. Get 0% APR financing for 48 months on 2025 Kia Sportages, Kia's most popular model. Plus, get 0.9% APR financing for 48 months on 2025 all-wheel drive Kia Sportage hybrids. They get up to 38 mpg. SMC also has 1.9% APR financing for 48 months on the all-wheel drive, brand new, refresh-styled 2026 Kia Sportage LX, starting at just over $32,000. Remember, every new Kia comes with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Nothing, nada, zilch. With as low as 0% APR financing at Sunbury Motors Kia on the Strip at Hummel's Wharf and at sunburymotorskia.com.
All right, so wrapping up for today. Again, Shikellamy plays at Milton, and the suit will be there. We mentioned that as a public service announcement to the fine people of Milton. What? No? I thought it was the right thing to do.
I think you did your civic duty for the day.
No, I feel good about myself. That's good. No. I feel like I helped the community. All right? Give them 10 days advance notice. Very nice. So, Mateer denies gambling. Okay. It was an inside joke. The Oklahoma quarterback saying screenshots of past references to sports gambling on his Venmo account were inside jokes with his friends. Okay.
I get it. I think it was 2022, so maybe he didn't think he'd become famous.
Yeah, maybe.
But that seems pretty dumb if it's just a joke. That's probably not the place to make it.
I have never bet on sports, he said. Okay. Now, you're a freshman quarterback at Washington State. And it's not as if you're an unknown entity. How about that? I mean, everybody seems to know who all the quarterbacks are at Penn State. And, yeah. But he was the number one overall player in the portal. He transferred to Oklahoma. I mean, last year with Washington State, 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns.
I don't. Venmo is the only social media site that is not private.
Right.
So I mean, hopefully people are, well, you don't want them to gamble at all if you're a college athlete, but hopefully they're a little smarter than that now. But I just, it's. I mean, they almost have to investigate him, don't they?
Oh, of course they do.
I can't believe they could go on his word.
Now, what bothers me is it's a public site. Why wasn't he investigated 2 years ago?
Because somebody decided that because somebody got onto his Venmo and scrolled back 3 years and found that.
Yeah, but these guys, I will say this: those who are involved in the business, the industry of gambling, they seem to be rather meticulous about this.
Well, I wonder if it didn't raise a red flag.
Maybe it didn't.
Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was betting and he just wasn't. He wasn't doing it from a fake account, which was what got some of those guys busted, or they did it from their using their mom's name on their account.
Well, that's what happened at Iowa State.
Yeah.
When that happens, you know that they know.
Yes.
Because we use my mom's maiden name. Huh. Don't tell me you didn't know.